Good morning, beautiful souls. Okay, so today we're gonna go on a journey. And this may be kind of a new journey for some of you. I know when I first started this journey, like the vocabulary was different for me, everything was different for me, um and so it may be a little different. But today's journey is gonna be a journey of self-discovery, of inner exploration, and we're going to start to uncover the divine essence. And this is what I mean by some of the vocabulary is a little different for me because I'm like, what is a divine essence? Well, the divine essence, it's something that is inside of each of us. But before we actually dive into it, I'm just going to take a moment to kind of center ourselves and kind of honor the sacredness of the journey that we're about to take. So I would just invite you, to close your eyes or soften your gaze if that feels better. Take a couple deep breaths. I know I'm a little my energy feels a little scattered this morning, so this is even helping me. And we're just gonna, take a couple deep breaths. Allow yourself to really become present in this space. Allow yourself to open a little bit, to become a little more receptive to potentially some new ways of thinking. Um, so when I talk about divine essence, what am I talking about? Well, the divine essence is the essence of who we are, kind of that light that shines within us, and connects us to the infinite wisdom and beauty of the universe, of everything around us. And I think a lot of times when we talk about the divine, we talk about something that's outside of ourselves, something to be sought after or attained. And the divine is something that is naturally just ours. And I'm always a little bit hesitant to bring up religion. Although I think if we start to really dig into religion, it starts to show us that there's really one source of divine inspirations. It just has many messengers. And so when we look at some of the religious texts, Genesis 1:27, it says, God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. 1 Corinthians 3:16, do you not know that you are in God's temple, that you are God's temple, and that God's spirit dwells in you? In the Quran 50:16, and we have certainly created man, and we know what his soul whispers to him, and we are closer to him than his jugular vein. So we're this close right here to a person. Hinduism, the self in man is the same as that which is in the whole universe. Buddhism, look within, thou art the Buddha. All of these things are saying that we are all interconnected and we're all divine creations in the image of God. But how many of us kind of have that little voice in our head that contradicts that message, that's always quick to point out our mistakes or our perceived imperfections? I have that. I've probably talked about this before, my inner bully. Just but this inner bully, it just makes us feel like we've done something to separate ourselves from the divine, or that we're somehow unworthy of it. Like somehow we don't deserve, the unconditional love that comes with the divine. And again, we're born divine. It is not a status that we earn or can lose. It's like the love that you have for a child. No matter what they do, you still love them. You may not love the behavior, but you still love them. They're still divine. And when we start to reconnect with this divinity inside of us, it starts to bring an inner peace, and you start to feel that unconditional love that maybe you haven't felt before. Um, and as we start to connect, we start to find peace, because a lot of times that feeling of peace kind of flows with what's going on around us. And when we're connected with the inner divine, it's irrelevant what's going on around us. We are still divine no matter what's going on around us. And it's that inner peace that comes from knowing that, just by being divine, being created in the image of the creator, we're already whole, we're already complete, we're already worthy of love and acceptance exactly as we are. And that's where the peace comes from. um, and then, as we start to journey from that place, to live our lives from that place, it's like the pieces kind of just kind of fall into place. And so, like, when I talk about connecting or reconnecting with the divine within, like, how do we do that? Like I said, this was a whole new topic for me, a whole new way of being for me. But the first thing is really self-awareness. And when I talk about self-awareness, it's the ability to observe our thoughts, to observe our emotions, the sensations in our body, with curiosity and compassion. And then when we can start to develop this self-awareness, we start to really gain insight into the patterns in our lives, the belief systems, the conditioning that has kind of shaped our experiences. And this awareness allows us to cultivate, like a greater clarity and understanding and acceptance of both ourselves and of others. But how do we develop this self-awareness? A lot of times people throw around these words, and I go, okay, great, I would need to be self-aware, but how do I do that? And it really starts with self-reflection. With self-reflection, we turn inward. We explore, like, the depths of our own being. And for me, like, a lot of times I'm so busy that I can't hear it. And I really have to, like, dedicate time. And usually I do it when I first wake up and before I go to bed, because it's the quieter times, but it's like an appointment that I don't miss. And it's just time to kind of to quiet the mind, where I sit with myself and I kind of reflect on my thoughts, my feelings, my experiences, again, with curiosity and compassion. um, and when you really start to sit with these thoughts, it's like, as the quieter that I became, the deeper I dug, the more I found. And sometimes it was confusing, because the things that I was digging up, they seemed to contradict what I had been taught my whole life. And but the confusion, as we sit with it and we allow it, it starts to settle into clarity. And it starts to merge with, what I call the divine inner wisdom. Um, because, being created, in the image, we also are connected to this wisdom. And in this divine, it speaks to us. Sometimes we'll call it intuition, or what the heart is telling us. But it's really an inner wisdom. And it's really tuning into that inner wisdom and trusting the guidance that comes up. Really listen to the messages that your body, your mind, and your spirit are sending you, and really honoring that divine guidance that flows through you with love and reverence. And a lot of times, we get lost in our thoughts, maybe because we've never been taught how to tune into our bodies or to our spirit. But we're used to listening to our thoughts, and sometimes they seem to be on an automatic, oftentimes negative loop. And I've talked about that before. We actually are designed with a negativity bias. But our thoughts are not always truth. And sometimes our thoughts are only thoughts. And sometimes these thoughts, they're products of pain and they're products of conditioning. And this is why we need to learn to also listen to our bodies and to our spirit. And when I talk about spirit, it's that divinity, but also what you may hear called like our higher self. That's in constant connection with the all-knowing and unconditionally loving creator. And if when you start to listen to that voice, it sounds like fear or it isn't filled with love and compassion, it's not your higher self. It may be your ego, it may be, a survival self, trying to keep you safe, but it's not your higher self. So if you think back to a time when you maybe felt connected to your intuition or this inner wisdom, what were you doing? Where were you? Just take a moment to kind of reflect on the experience, on any insights or guidance that came to you, kind of guiding your path. You're like, I don't know how I navigated that, but there was something inside of me. And how did it feel to trust that inner wisdom? And maybe you've never felt that. And I would say that it took me a long time to kind of tune into mine and to notice the places where it was guiding me. And we're going to learn this and we're going to practice together. So don't panic if you're going, okay, this is all new, this is something I haven't experienced. um but the first step of this is practicing mindfulness. And again, this is another term that gets thrown around a lot. But what mindfulness really means, it's the like the practice of being fully present in the moment, not stuck in the past or worried about the future, but really present in the moment, with an open heart and a non-judgmental judgmental awareness. So we can hear our thoughts, we can tune into our feelings and our sensations, but we don't judge them. We just sit with them. So if you take a moment just to bring your awareness to this present moment, to notice the sensations in your body, the rhythm of your breath, the beat of your heart, and maybe even the thoughts that are passing through your mind. And just allow yourself to, again, just to simply be with these things without any judgments or any expectations. And then, how does it feel to be fully present in this moment? And you may be getting pulled by whatever's going on in your house right now. And this is why I say it's good to schedule it. It's good to find a quiet place. Now, if you place your hand over your heart and just take a few moments to just breathe into that heart space. Notice any sensations or emotions that are arising as you connect to your heart center. What feelings do you notice? What messages does your heart have for you? One of the messages that my heart consistently has for me is a reminder, and it's telling me embrace your light. And what does that mean? Well, what it really means is, like look at like what kind of qualities or strengths do I have that I admire in myself? When we talk about the light, it's the aspects of your being that really shine and reflect your divine essence. So, what are your qualities? What are some things that you admire about yourself? And how do these qualities manifest in your thoughts, your actions, how you interact with others? Like one of the common fears I commonly hear is about approaching potential partners. And sometimes in these moments, we forget about our light and we let this fear of rejection flood us. But when we fully embrace our light, we know how amazing we are. Like down to our core, we know that it's an embodied knowing. And when we approach potential partners, with this knowing, we approach it differently. It's like, okay, well, maybe they'll be lucky enough to see how amazing I am. It's a different feeling than what if they don't like me? What if they reject me? But coming from a place of this the divine essence and the knowing of how divine and amazing we are, it's a totally different place. But I will say, with this light also comes the shadow, which is also a divine part of us. And when I talk about the shadow, it's kind of the parts that maybe you struggle to accept or embrace. Maybe it's the parts that carry your pain or your fears or your insecurities. So if you just take a moment to kind of tune in, to acknowledge these parts of yourself with compassion and understanding. Maybe take a second to even jot them down. What lessons do they hold for you? How can you offer love and healing to these wounded aspects of your being? And the last part of today's talk, I just want to talk about divine expression. So we have these light and these dark sides of ourselves, and sometimes we stuff them down, like they're not acceptable. We can't show them to the world. And I know I've talked about these parts before, but part of finding the divine and cultivating the divine is also about expressing the divine, that uniqueness, that our passions, our talents, our deepest desires, like really expressing those, and engaging in activities that really just bring you joy, and an outlet for your creativity, and whether it's art or music or dance, or just communicating with the people in your lives, any form of real soulful expression that allow you to be fully authentic and true to yourself, really to trusting and cultivating again that divine essence that will shine through the creative endeavors that you express them in. And lastly, I would just invite you to reflect on the blessings and gifts that you have received in your life. Those moments of joy and love and connection that, have kind of touched your soul. Take a moment to express gratitude. And if you want to pop into the comments below, these are the things that I'm grateful for. um and this is just a kind of an introduction into the journey, and we're going to journey deeper and deeper into the depths of our own divinity. And just remember that the divine is not something to be found outside of ourselves. It's the very essence of who we are, like that spark that kind of like illuminates the path and kind of guides us on the journey. And whether it's self-discovery or a spiritual awakening, a connecting with the divine. But it's a journey. So thank you for joining me today on just a tiny bit of this sacred journey, and into the depths of your own being. And I hope that you continue to uncover this divine essence that resides in you. And embrace the beauty and the wisdom and the love that flow from your own like inner sanctuary, your inner being. And if you found today's video helpful, forward it to a friend. There's nothing like letting the light shine and ignite other people's lights. So forward it to a friend, and if you just hit the subscribe below. My goal is to put out a new video at least every Friday, more when I'm inspired. And you can also check out more of my offerings on my website, which is also in the notes below, but it's going to be ourworldempowered.com. Our World Empowered, that's really my goal, is for us to all come into our divine essence and really become empowered and supporting of each other. So go check that out. Again, forward it to a friend, hit subscribe below, check out the website. But until we meet again, may you forever be connected to this infinite wisdom and love and the divinity that has a home inside of you. And one of the I don't know if you call it a phrase or a saying or a greeting, but namaste, which means the light in me honors the light in you. So until next time, I hope that you keep connecting with that divinity. All right. Bye.